Yeah, buddy. Rolling like a big shot. Chevy tuned up like a NASCAR pit stop. Yeah. Hey y'all, Eli with Alchemy Custom Weaponry here. We're in beautiful Utah. Of course, Browning country, and of course we got to talk about 1911s. But I'm gonna kind of throw something at you. All right? You know, I've gotten known for being really big proponent of the 45. It's a fantastic round. You know, won both world wars. It would literally dissipate your soul on impact. And I gotta tell you, man, I've been doing some research. And, you know, we went up to the Browning Museum, we talked a little bit, and there's just a lot of things I think that, even as a 45, you know, what would you call a 45 prophet, if you will, such as myself, I can really understand the enjoyment of a 9mm 1911. They're just absolutely fantastic for a few reasons. One, they're cheap to feed. They have a super soft recoil impulse, and of course they're just fun to shoot for everyone in the family, everyone involved. But there's some other things we got to talk about. So when the original Browning automatic or Colt automatic pistol designed by Browning came out, it was in a 38 ACP. Now, ballistically, the 38 ACP is very similar to the 9mm. In 1929, the Colt 1911, or the Colt government model, would be chambered in Super 38. Again, kind of similar to the modern day 9mm. And then in, of course, 1949, 1950, the first 9mm 1911 would come out from Colt manufacturing. Now, this is pretty important because what I'm telling you is Colt pistols and 1911 pistols in general have been chambered in 9mm longer than Glock's been a company. You know, it's a part of the 1911 history, and someone even as steadfast in the 1911 45 as I am needs to understand that. It's just a really important part of the history. It's very cool. You can look up all that stuff on your own, but we're going to talk about Alchemy 9mm 1911s. And so there's a couple things you want to take into consideration. Do understand that the 1911 was designed for 45. And there's a few things that have happened to make it into a 9mm, and there's a few things you need to worry about when you're shooting your 9mm Alchemy pistol. So, that being said, the first thing I'm going to tell you is you're going to want to start shooting 9mm 124 NATO spec. That's the hot stuff. NATO spec in your gun when you first get it. Now, of course, I've got a high cap with a few thousand rounds, 6,000 or 7,000 rounds on it, and I can shoot everything from 115 to 165s and have no problem. But when I first got the gun, it needed to run 124 NATO. The reason for that is there are a lot of friction points on the 1911, and if you have a weak ass 9mm cartridge, it won't be able to work the slide to actually operate the pistol efficiently. So keep that in mind. 124 NATO, make sure it's NATO. Not all 124 is alike, so make sure you're doing the NATO stuff. Now, the other thing is you do want to keep the gun lubricated. Of course, that's common for all 1911s, but especially the 9mm. And then also understand magazines play a really big part. The Alchemy magazines are fantastic. I'm actually shooting a compact. We'll get into that in a minute. And these are cut down Trip Cobra mags, and they are absolutely fantastic as well. One note on the magazines you might find that's interesting is there's a spacer that runs along the back of the magazine. And this is actually to push the round forward to kind of give it a perceived or pseudo case length, because the 9mm is shorter than the 45. And of course, these guns aren't scaled down like some other guns we're not going to talk about, but these aren't scaled down. These are still like a 45 frame, but of course chambered in 9mm. So to do that, you do need a spacer in the back of the magazine. So that's important as well. These Trip Cobra mags are great, and we do try to get them as often as we can for our 9mm compact. So with all of that talking out of the way, let's shoot a little bit, because that's what it's all about. We're going to shoot a 9mm. It is the Prime compact. It's actually Nick's. I don't have a single stack 9mm Alchemy personally, but after shooting this one, I may have to get one. So I do have a round in there. We're just going to shoot it. I'm going to show you how fast you can shoot it. You can shoot it soft. Great shooting gun. You know, if you have someone who's a little bit timid when it comes to recoil, maybe start them out on one of these. I'll be honest with you, the 9mm 1911 is one of the more pleasurable shooting experiences in the handgun world. So with that being said, let's get her on target here. And of course, the red dot you know, it really helps a lot in shooting this gun. Great consideration for a carry pistol. But we're just going to run one more magazine. And, you know, it's just a fun gun to shoot. It's relaxing, it's therapeutic, you know, and like, there's a lot of people who are recoil sensitive, and this may be a good option for you. But just keep in mind, you do want to get the 124 NATO stuff, and then, of course, as the gun breaks in, you can start putting some other in. Yeah, great shooting gun. As you can see, we have the full lock back, which is, of course, because I was using full power ammo. If you do run weaker ammo, you may notice that the gun won't lock back because the slide actually isn't getting all the way back to engage the slide stop. So keep that in mind. If you get your gun out and you notice, oh, it's not locking back, it probably is the ammo. So anyways, hey, as much as I love 45, there is a special place in my heart for a 9mm single stack pistol. And if you have always wanted one, you want a good one, check us out. We'll definitely build you up a nice 9mm 1911.